So the first thing that is coming forward is Ardon's here again, and like wanting to remind us how to control our reactions to things. Give me more clarity. That doesn't make sense. Ground further in your ability to pull back in the moment that things are intense. Because the sooner you can pull back from the intensity, the sooner you'll realize if this is something you need to work on or if this is something that is being projected at you. And it's very important for us to be able to discern the moments when we need to interject our boundary or when we need to interject our compassion. This is so important for Crystal because she's learning so much how to interject the boundary that she feels almost a guilt come forward sometimes, because it's like she doesn't feel as though the interjection of the balance in her compassion is there. But we just want to keep reminding people that we make something dominant in your energy field because you really need to be able to pay attention to it. And when we are continuously interjecting multiple energies at one time, there's never integration of the knowing that we're asking for, of the balance that's being built in this foundation. Yeah. It's okay to practice one energy first. There's this expectation that you have to have it all right off the bat. And Crystal's getting frustrated with herself right now because she doesn't understand where I'm going with this. This is why we ask her to pull back.
Okay, so let's, for example, when we are in a situation where we're getting really riled up in someone else's interference, and it feels like the emotions get very intense, in that moment, pull back. This is actually good for me too. Pull back to recognize, is that someone projecting at me, or is this something that is affecting me because I need to look at something within myself? And when you're in that intense emotion, that's a good reminder, because I'm not thinking of pull back. It's like shit's hit the fan and I can't see in front of me or behind me to even remember to pull back.
Exactly, and that's why it took Crystal until your meditation today to recognize that she's been getting projected at since last night.
Okay.
She thought that the amount of fun that was had yesterday had opened up her heart in a way that she hasn't been opening her heart. So she thought that that bad feeling she was feeling was because she was experiencing a lot of joy yesterday, and bliss, and then moved back into just normalcy and thought to herself, okay, I'm experiencing the feeling of this contrast. Mm-hmm. Of where I just was versus where I vibrate regularly right now. She's been a little hard on herself for not being able to be in her joy and her bliss. She's grounding a lot in the masculine energies, and they're causing her to focus on other things. And because she's feeling less emotion, either high or low, she's associating that with not being happy. And so we're asking her to come back into her heart, as we're asking you to come back into your heart, so that you two can focus on kind of integrating this new understanding of what it means to be heart-centered in the focus, in the passion, in the creation. Crystal's still releasing the patterns of internalizing a lot of energy.
Well, it's at a certain point, enough clearing is done and it's just not about us anymore. And to recognize, what I'm getting you're saying is to recognize when that is what it is. By pulling back, to recognize that's not me, that's them.
We have told you many, many times that the healing is done.
Yeah.
So we would just like to kind of come into this space and reiterate that. There is a level of activation that if you're internalizing energies, will seem as though you are being presented with things that need to be cleared. And we just want you to recognize that in those moments, it's more about attuning to your vibrational balance than it is about clearing something. Because when you attune to your vibrational balance, you have to step back. And in order to create movement forward in your vibration, which is both of your intention at this time, you have to pause and recognize the energy around you so you can see where you want to go and movement forward. And so we're just going to ask that everybody continues to focus on their vibrational alignment and movement forward, because that in itself is going to keep you in a space of moving into these activations instead of finding yourself in a space where you're internalizing this energy and then feeling like you have to maybe clear something or utilize your discernment. Is this good or is this bad? And we would say if you would take control over your internal vibration, you would never have to be in a place of discernment, because you would be in your connection. You would know you can trust the energy that's showing up for you, because your intention every single day is to meet yourself in the highest realms of who you are, to meet the best to meet the best version of yourself every single day is going to continuously keep your vibration in that high state that we're asking you to continuously come into. We keep telling Crystal, pivot your focus away from 4D and keep coming back into 5D. Because the way the focus is going right now, even within the Lightworker community, it's like there's so much that's being activated. They can't get out of the mindset of, oh, I have this thing I have to heal. And we want you to recognize more than ever, your healing is done. You're just learning how to turn on these new things that you don't know exist for you yet. And in the doing so, sometimes these old patterns within you are going to be inflamed. Not so that you can clear them, but because once you recognize that it's there, you can say, this is no longer who I choose to be, and then activate who you're becoming. It's a mindset. It's stepping into this next level of who you are and taking your vibration kind of by the horns. Take the bull by the horns.
So realizing that
you're not subjective to the vibrational flow. It's funny because we want to say we don't care how these waves are coming in at you. You are not subjective to any of this energy. You have complete control at all times. And I want Crystal to take her power back there. Cool. You've done the work of taking your power back and really activating this place within you that needed boundaries, and you've done that, and it was so beautiful. Now take your power back over your vibration. She's yearning for this energy of being back in the higher chakras. She kind of feels over being in the lower chakras and grounding all this energy. It's starting to feel heavy to her to be in this space continuously, because her soul is craving the balance of coming back into the divine feminine. But she's not yet realizing the only way that's truly going to happen and ground itself into this place she's becoming is for her to take the bull by the horns. And we say the same is true for every single one of you. Every single one of you. Take your vibration back. Let the internal voice be louder than that external world at all times. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. We don't care that it's your mother. We don't care that it's your best friend. We don't care that it's your partner. We don't care who it is that's igniting you. Take your power back. You can't prance around here saying that we're not victims, we are the light, we're this and that, but when it comes to control over our vibration, we feel like it's willy-nilly. You know, this thing that just keeps happening. No, these things don't just keep happening. These things keep happening because your soul, you, who you really are, is calling you to overcome this obstacle that you keep presenting yourself with vibrationally.
So
heed the call.
Okay. So it's...
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah. It is wonderful to start the day in a high vibe. And then as you go out and greet the world in your high vibrations, sometimes you're saying that things are coming up not to test our frequency, but as an opportunity to grab our power.
Ground, yes. Show yourself you can do it. Because things aren't coming up, things are being created by the vibrations that are still being released within you. And if you attach yourself to it, you're creating this energy of feeling like you have these things that need to be healed. Whether it's within you that needs the healing or it's within somebody else. There's still this energy of, oh, there's this thing that needs to be healed. But in all reality, the circumstance, the situation is being brought forth for you to stand in your power and even claim your power back in this place by remaining stable in your vibration.
Okay, but doing it on your own, not necessarily involving the person that's standing in front of you
It's all internal. It absolutely has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
The experience that you have with others is a manifestation of the frequency that you're holding. So if you're in a space of calling yourself into the next best thing, calling yourself into your power, calling yourself into your certainty, calling yourself into your knowing, grounding your truth, yet your vibration isn't practiced quite yet in that frequency, there are going to be manifestations that pop up in your life that are going to say, would you like to ground this now?
That's a good way to look at that.
And so when you can pause and kind of detach from the emotional attachment that's going on in the energy, pulling the 3D, 4D out of it and allowing yourself the multi-dimensional perspective of what's going on in the situation, you allow yourself to not have that emotional attachment, which creates that bond of disdain or resistance or incompatibility.
Okay.
Yeah. Really get into your vibration and watch how fast it'll shift. This is why we've been showing you the green cars. We are giving you physical proof that you're bringing forward massive amounts of abundance in all ways. Abundance in love, abundance in spirituality, abundance in friends and family, abundance in positive energy. And we're showing you how fast you can manifest it when you're playing in the vibration of joy and fun. Because when you're laughing and looking for these circumstances to show up and you have the expectation that it is because you've been seeing it, it is going to come. And we want you to have that same joyful expectation in all things in your life from this moment forward. Disconnect from the world that's screaming at you. And this is why in the last channel you are being guided by Auxil and Clomidil to come into your knowing and your bubble. Stay in your bubble. We told Crystal today in the manifestation. That's a good one. We were showing her in those moments how beneficial it will be for you to combine your schedules a little bit more frequently. So you can have your days of just going on your walk, coming and meditating, doing a channel, going and hiking, taking the dogs for a walk, swimming, going and riding a bike, doing things, going to the lake, and just spending time together outside of the home in these spaces of creating joy and bliss together. It is way easier for you two to maintain your vibration when you're together for longer periods of time than it is when you go out and venture into the world on your own.
Especially Walmart.
You hold yourself as gauges. When you venture off on your own, you think that you're still in a good space, but you are allowing external interferences to come in and kind of manipulate the tone and the vibration. Yet when you're together, that is less likely to happen because your awareness of your partner ignites the path. You know what you want. You know what your intention is together. You know that your mission is to continually level up and grow through this ascension process and ground this information in so you can share this information with people and light the way. And so when you are together, that is always a vibration, a frequency in the background, because it's a very practiced chord. It's a very practiced vibration. It's a very practiced intention. When you guys can stay together with that, combining it with the joy and bliss that you're creating by staying in the vibration and the feeling of the fifth dimension, you are going to create this new frequency within you that's going to keep you grounding further into the higher realities that you're trying to bring into your life and create. And we're showing you the way through the green car. We told Crystal last night in her bath, stay in the energy of the miracle. Play in the signs. Play in the coincidences. Literally use anything and everything as an excuse to say, that's a sign from the universe that what I want is coming, that what I want is next, that what I'm manifesting is here, that it's here for me, that I'm activating it now, that my answers are coming, my clarity's here, I'm tuning into it every moment. Doing your positive affirmations, staying in this space of reiterating to yourself your power, your knowing, where you're going. The energy of 4D is cool because it is really neat watching the world manifest into this new earth energy. But you have to understand from your empathic nature, it's also extremely easy for you to soak up the vibrations of that realm. And then before you know it, you want to be here, but we're here. And then we have to do the climb back because we let our vibrations slip, because one too many things were said, because one too many videos get watched, because something gets agitated within the heart of the human that feels like there is an imposition of energy, that there is an injustice. And we need you to continually tune back into the space that there is no injustice. There's only vibration and manifestation. And when you can stay there, you see that broader perspective that Source holds as to how all of this is panning out.
Yeah, I think more, for a little while it's fun to kind of play in 4D.
Yeah.
Now it's getting kind of boring. It's like, it's much of the same, and then what? So
it's not serving you.
Yeah, I see that.
We brought this through in the last channel, and we're just here to kind of reiterate again. Come back into the heart space. Come back into the heart space. There's so much activation going on within the body. Find yourself telling yourself the stories of all of the things that are working out for you. Replay it in your mind. All of the things that are working out for you. Gratitude, appreciation. Look out that window and see the world that you've already created. Look at what is already manifested for you. Give more focus to the beauty, the abundance, the availability of the resources that are here for you in this moment. Not even just in this physical realm, but the resources of energy that are contacting you, communicating with you through your physical body, through your awareness, through your opening third eye, through your opening heart.
I like coming back into the childlike enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Just playing in that and being in a state of wonder and just silly.
It's time to get back in that energy, yes. Yeah. Yes, find any way that you can to bring more joy in, to bring more earthing in, to bring more connection into that fifth dimensional realm you feel brewing. And speaking of brewing, we would like to talk about some of the energy that's been coming through, because that was our intention for today's message. There was a massive energy wave that came off your sun last night. And Crystal felt it around 11:30 p.m., I want to say. And at that same time, you woke up out of a dead sleep and came in. And you guys talked about the wave that had just come in. And this wave is a very profound wave. We would like to say this is the primer. The wave that is here right now, the wave that was received last night, is priming the pump of the pillar of light within. It is priming the bodies, souls, and grids within the light worker vessel to receive the wave of energy that is to come. So, there are going to be a lot of energy shifts within the field, and we are going to advise that the empaths in the community keep themselves extremely grounded and in their awareness of what's a projection and what's their own any coming forward, because there will be a lot of collective purging at this time. This energy will propel you if you can put the walls down around your heart. This energy will carry you into the next higher realm of fifth dimensional frequency that you have access to if you allow it, if you receive it, if you open your heart to it. We were showing Crystal today in meditation that it is currently kind of hovering over the earth like a blanket, and it is kind of holding within it the heat of the bed sheets, if you will. The energy that has been brewing within the earth that we were talking to you about in the last channel has allowed the earth to hold the frequencies long enough that we were able to move past the threshold that was needed for the earth to begin to move into 5D physically. So with this energy wave that is coming in at this time, there is a lot of earth changes that are going to be coming. And so the more people can focus inwardly on their heart and grounding into this space of the new earth coming forward, and that, yes, there are people on this planet that are going to choose to not come. And you have to find a way to make peace with that being okay. And so, as we discussed earlier, creating that pause and taking a moment to step back so you can see the perspectives of all realities that are playing out before you. This is no accident. Every soul on this planet knows exactly the role that they are here to play. And as you are claiming to be an awakened being, we are going to ask that you be more awakened to your energetic purpose at this time, which is to hold the light, which is to hold 5D, which is to hold the Christic consciousness, which is to hold the purity of the heart chakra open, which is to hold the pillar of light steady. There are energy shifts that are going to happen that are going to cause purges within the earth, just like you're seeing some of these advanced ascension symptoms causing purges within your own meridian system as you integrate your pillar of light. And continuing to stay in your trust and stay in your knowing of what is manifesting at this time will benefit you greatly. You've been studying and practicing the ascension energies and aligning yourself to them so that you can have a certain experience, so that you can have a certain outcome. And we are going to tell you that if there was ever a time to practice those intentions, it would be in this moment right now. You are very close to the manifestation, the physical manifestation of your first event wave energy coming into the earthly realm. And so continuing to come into your heart and allowing yourself to be open and seeing from broader perspective as you watch some of the changes that are unfolding, reminding yourself that all souls have chosen certain paths, just like every lifetime previously. There's nothing different in this. The only difference is the light workers that have chosen in lifetimes to attempt ascension and then ultimately were killed, or did die, they are now being able to complete their mission. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still souls on this planet that don't have that same intention. So it is of your choosing, because you're choosing to be awake, to begin to take on that perspective of source, that there are souls here that have a different path than you, and you have to be able to accept their path with non-judgment. We're all going to the same place. It just may not all happen at the same time. And that's okay. It's none of your business. Being a light worker was to shift the energy of the planet. Yes, there were those that were here to bring awareness to the consciousness of humanity, but that doesn't mean the totality of humanity is ready to take that leap. It's just for some meaning that it's time that it is brought into their awareness. And then they will continue to maybe have another lifetime or so, if they choose, to come into the ascension process. But the light workers that are here on the planet are ready. And they need to continue to focus on their goals. They need to continue to focus on the mission at hand. Stop putting so much emphasis on everybody else. The souls that are around you are ready to move with you. They'll figure it out. Stop questioning who's coming. Just let them figure it out on their own. If they are in your life, and you know you are a light worker, and you know you are in the process of ascension, if the people in your life are going to choose to continue to live in their physical body, that means they are choosing the path of ascension now.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot of earthly changes that are coming up. Now, after saying what you just said, and the light workers coming together and holding their light and staying heart-centered, could the earth changes be not as brutal?
We would never use the word brutal. We would say it's intense.
Okay.
No, there are souls that are choosing that.
Yeah.
There are souls that are choosing that experience. And here's the thing about being an advanced being, is you no longer get to choose the good and the bad experience. That is a very human outlook, and we want to bring you back to, yes, there is good and light and dark, we will say. There is light and dark. And as the light continues to dark, you will see, as the light continues to grow, you will see the dark continuing to be exposed. But not everything that happens that is maybe not something that you would choose or that you feel in alignment with is something that we would label dark. We don't feel like death is dark. It's a transition out of one realm into another. Not everybody is choosing the path of ascension this time. There are still souls that will be leaving their bodies over the coming weeks and months. There are still souls that will be leaving the body and choosing to not continue on this ascension path. Now, every soul that chooses to stay inside their body, though, is choosing the ascension path, regardless of how they get there. They may be in a lot of physical ailment for a time being, until the energy comes in and is able to really bring forward the manifestation of the healing beds and the energies that are here to really heal some of these things for people. But they may still have a rough experience as they get to that point with us, as they come into the opening that there are options and solutions available to help them heal. How do we explain that better? There are people that feel hopeless right now that are still ascending. There are people that feel desperate right now that are still ascending. And there are also souls that feel joyful that will leave their body. It's like we just want to pull back from the judgment of ascension. Crystal's disagreeing with those words. We want to pull back from the idea that it needs to be a certain way. Because to understand it from your physical mind, we would say that you understand it hardly, even in the purest of vibrations.
Well, I think that we're still in the mindset that good is better than evil, light's better than dark, but they're still two sides of the same coin. And in reality, we're going to get to a place where we see from expanded consciousness, and it's not right or wrong, it just is.
It's an experience of energy. Exactly. And the thing is everybody has had the experience of the light and the dark. Everybody has had the experience of being the good guy and the bad guy. You know, that was the wheel of karma for so long. That was the tool of the matrix that gathered soul experience so that the soul could choose this kind of timeline of ascension. Crystal's starting to judge herself a little bit because she's in and out and not really paying attention to what's being said, and then she'll pop in and hear something that's being said and not understand the flow of it, and she begins to judge herself. So we're going to ask her to go sit down. It's like when Teresa wants Crystal to make dinner, yet she can't let go of control of how it's cooked.
Whatever.
It's the same thing. Crystal wants to be the vessel, yet she can't let go of how the information's coming through. So we're working on it together.
I think you're doing a great job.
She liked that. She's like, thanks, honey.
So do you want to go into what we were talking about earlier, about the islands that are coming forward or rising up? I had a dream that the event energies came through, and I was seeing new land sort of coming through the earth.
Yeah. We would like to talk about it. Crystal's feeling a little insecure, so let me just talk with her heart for just a moment.
Okay.
She really wants to be the vessel.
Winning.
We were showing Crystal today that there's a massive amount of land that is coming up out of the ocean. It's resurfacing. The land that is resurfacing is holding a lot of energy and a lot of history from your planet, and so it's shifting the energy of the planet. The energy shifts of the planet are starting to affect the temperature of the planet just slightly, and I don't know necessarily that this is an atmospheric temperature or if this is a core type temperature, but I feel like it's dropping just enough that it's starting to create more moisture in the air. And at the same time, there's also a displacement of the water from the movement of having the land come up through the water. And so there's a lot of water movement. There's a lot of shifts of the water. And I even feel like a lot of the shifts of the water are happening like underneath plates of the planet. Like there's aquifers that are being drained and relocated within the earth. there. So like there are certain aquifers in the planet that are now going to become cavern type because they're draining out. And then there's other areas that are maybe more caverns that are just going to fill and become aquifers again. There's water displacement and movement within the ocean.
Is that happening organically, or is any of this?
It is. It's happening because of the energy of the new earth. We were trying to explain earlier that there's a tipping point that's been met. And so the energy that's now coming from the sun and blanketing the planet is kind of creating this greenhouse incubator effect energetically. And what it's doing is it's allowing the earth to start to really bask in these fifth dimensional energies. And we are trying to explain this to Crystal. We believe this is why you're not seeing as much activity in the Schumann as you did before, because we feel like those charts are no longer going to be a full accurate representation of the Earth's energy, because the Earth is now moving into these fifth dimensional realms. It's moving into this fifth dimensional frequency. You're going to see a lot of these Earth changes on the planet happening. And it is because new Earth is being exposed more and more physically. The waves of energy that are coming in, what we are calling the first wave when we speak with Crystal, this energy is going to pull forth a lot of new masses and a lot of uncovering of masses of land and energetic spaces and grid points within the planet that have existed for a long time but have never been known to the public. There's a shift in the energy of the earth, yet the consciousness of humanity is shifting so greatly, and these two things together are really bringing about this grounded energy where the physical manifestation of new earth can really begin to happen. So you're going to see some of these slow morphing changes as this first wave comes in. And then as the next wave comes in, you'll see a few more of these slow morphing changes. And we feel like a lot of this shift is going to happen between now and October. So a lot of these slow movement changes where maybe you're going to have some major landslides, changing some shapes of some of these. I don't know exactly what it is. I just see land masses moving. I see land masses coming up from the ocean. I'm seeing water displacement because of all of this. Crystal's judging herself again because she doesn't want people to be in fear.
Well, is this going to?
She knows that people will listen to this and kind of, maybe some of them will go into a fearful space, and she really wants everybody to understand that these changes are completely supported and backed by God. And it is really important to understand that the people that are leaving are 100% choosing to do so.
So in that space, isn't that sort of the earth cleansing itself or detoxing itself from the negative energies that have been impacted so much? Are we going to where it's creating more land and less water?
We can't put this into you're asking for something 5D to come into a 3D space so you can understand it in a physical manifested form, and we can't put that into words for you.
Okay.
The closest thing we can put into words for you is that the manifestation of New Earth is going to be a split. It's a split. And the people that you will experience as going through the death process, going through the transition process, will not. They will move into this earth. Their life for them will completely continue like nothing ever happened.
But to us it'll look like they passed.
But to you it will look as though they are choosing to no longer be in this realm.
Okay.
And that's why we're asking everyone to stay in this fifth dimensional space. We can't explain it to you in a way that your human mind will understand at this time, because there's not enough conscious space there to understand the fifth dimensional and universal concepts of what it's like to move from one dimension into the other. The human mind at this time can't even understand the totality of the death process and what that transition looks like, let alone put into perspective the transition of the physical body into another realm. So it's like, we want you to know that there is a split, and you're seeing it energetically kind of in, there's a lot of, let's say, a lot of these people that are supporting a lot of the violence on the planet. I can tell you that a lot of these people will have, in your reality, these people will go through the experience of transitioning back into source through the death process. But we want to tell you that really they are going to wake up the same way, in the same space that they've always been in, continuing down this path that they've been expanding in, and they're going to experience the same energy you're experiencing, and they're going to continue to have the opportunity to come over to 5D if they choose. But you here in 5D are trying to see everything from Source's perspective, so you are experiencing both timelines. You're experiencing the 5th dimensional timeline, the 4th dimensional timeline, and the 3rd dimensional timeline. And in the 3rd dimensional timeline, that experience from your vision point is going to be the transition of death. But they're not going to have that conscious perspective. So to them, it's almost like a Groundhog Day where they're waking up trying to go through the same thing. And then what you see is almost like a memory fade, is probably the best way we could put it into physical terms, where the memory of you will fade for them as if you never had that experience with them in their life. And you and Crystal have always already kind of been feeling that there's some sort of memory slip that happens where people kind of disappear out of each other's experience as these realms are separating.
It's almost like the timeline of, how did I see it? It was like a timeline where we're
and this is
unplugged, sort of.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is that when the solar flash comes forward, when the event energy finally comes through, that big party that Crystal keeps seeing, that big celebration, it's because the timelines will merge. That is when everybody will come into the new earth that chooses to stay in a physical body. Because, okay, so, and Crystal's like, well, how does that happen in that 3rd dimensional realm where they're waking up in Groundhog's Day, not recognizing that they had transitioned back into that timeline? And what we are trying to show her is that they continually have this chance to receive these energies in the 3rd dimension and begin the awakening process into the 4th dimension that will expand their consciousness. Once they expand their consciousness, they can open back up to the experience of you again. But they see you in a 5th dimensional realm. So their experience of 4D and 5D in the beginning stages is going to be much different than the beginning stages of 4D and 5D from your perspective, because nobody's there yet. You guys will already be there welcoming these people back in. So the experience is very different. And this gathering that Crystal has been seeing is when the actual solar flash event happens, and it'll happen multidimensionally through all timelines and all realms on the planet Earth. And whoever has literally chosen to stay in these timelines and not go back to source, they're continuing kind of like that Groundhog's Day. They are still trying to ascend, even though they're not doing it on the same path that you are. They will come to this gathering. There will be a massive gathering when the 5th dimensional energies are open to all on planet Earth. And that's kind of like a reemergence. It's kind of like everybody comes from that split from New Earth, Old Earth, however you want to, whatever energetic term you want to use here on your planet. It all comes back together. There's a reconvergence of this energy when it'll all come back together. And then we party. We want to tell you we party like it's 1999. It's going to be the best celebration you can imagine. But you can't judge each individual wave in what path you're taking against somebody else's path, because that keeps you in those lower realms. We want you to keep coming back into your heart and just trust that everybody is going to the same place. everybody's going to the same place. Even when you get to 5D, the people who've merged back with Source and aren't choosing to be in this physical experience of, the ascension process and the transference of energy into the new earth, they may be back with Source still. You're still going to be able to communicate with them because you're going to have your telepathy, you're going to have your extrasensory perception, and you're going to be able to have the interaction with them too. So it's like, get over this whole death thing. Get over this whole death thing, especially right now as you're going through your event process. Stop feeling so bad for everybody. Like, what even is that? We don't do that in 5D. In 5D, we see the higher purpose of everybody's role in all of it. And we want you to try and find ways that you can find the silver lining, put on your rose-colored glasses, and find these fifth dimensional energies within the experience that's happening in the world around you when you look. But we don't want you to look that often. Stop doing that. Get back in your bubble. Get back in your play. Get back in your bliss. Get your vibe back.
Well, that's what just what you were talking about earlier. If, the news is flashing all this stuff, pull back. Just pull back. And this is something you guys have been teaching us for a while. Pull back so you can see from a broader perspective, so you can see the truth in it.
Yeah.
And that see their mission, their role, their purpose.
Yeah, and that's the thing we want to say so clearly. It's okay that you place your focus in the 4D disclosure, but we don't want you to place all your energy there.
Yeah.
We don't want that to be your only consumption of inflow. You have to take in the higher energy. You're more of a match to 5D than you are 4D any day. So you have to figure out how to balance it more with a balance of perception of what's happening, what's taking place. We love the awareness, but we want to place more importance on the awareness of your inner energy and your heart chakra and your connection to the Christic consciousness and your manifestation of the fifth dimensional reality that's literally breaking ground as we speak. We want you to focus there on all of this solar energy that's coming in. Everyone can feel it. Crystal posted something this morning and people are like, is that what's going on? Is that what's going on? Oh my God, I woke up dead on my sleep, throwing up. These advanced ascension symptoms as you are asking for the light grid within your physical vessel to become ignited so that you can be a match to the fifth dimensional switch, this transference of reality. For you to continue to become a vibrational match for it, there needs to be some level of activation within the chakra system that hasn't quite happened before. And when that happens, you're going to feel kind of a purge of those densities and those energies as they release. And we just want to remind everybody that when you take a step back, even in those places, you can recognize, okay, my body's being activated. This is just some resistance that I needed to release. Staying in your connection and staying non-attached to the reality in front of you as you go through this transition, when these timelines are splitting and these experiences are splitting, keeping yourself in a space of non-attachment allows you to kind of just ride the wave as you navigate yourself in this grounding of who you're becoming. But reaffirm to yourself who you're becoming more than you allow the external reality to affirm it for you. Yeah. That's old news. Just keep reminding yourself that. What you're seeing unfold in front of you with your financial situation on your planet and with your political situation on your planet, all of these manifestations that you're seeing unveil, even though it may look to you as though this is disclosure, because it is, know that it's old news, because the disclosure was the energy showing up first. The energy showing up to make that manifestation available. That was the new news. So now we want you to focus, okay, well, what's the new news now? Now that we have this awareness on our planet, what is the next energy that we need to be tuning into? Well, it's the coming together of hearts. Peace on earth. Begin to create that energy within you and watch that manifest next. You guys know exactly what you're doing. Come back into your tools, use your practices, be intentional. Recognize your power, ground yourself in it. Use all of your awarenesses to direct you on your path, to continue to allow you to open up more fully to your purpose and your connection to God every day. Yeah, 5D is here for you. Right. It's all right here.
So you mentioned earlier that there, through this, these land masses that are coming up, there are ancient histories, memories that are going to come through with this. Is this tied into...
Your DNA has already been activated in terms of having this vibration come forward within you. And we believe this is why there's a lot of memory coming forward over the light workers being sacrificed for their gift, being sacrificed for their ability to communicate with God, to be aware of the energies of the planet and be aware of how to communicate with plant life and animal life. And so these awarenesses are arising within, and that's why there's this feeling that the lightworker community kind of has. It's like, we have to overcome this. We have to rise above this fear. And so coming back into your heart space is going to allow you to tune into the space within you that is tapped into that ancient knowledge, that is tapped into that Akashic record that resides within you, that is going to remind you exactly what it is that you need to be tuning into and expressing. And as you can move away from the fear and more into your heart, you allow the memory to just open. All that fear is the resistance of the memory coming back to. The memory that's opening within you is full. The dark and the light exists within this memory activation. And as you come into your heart, you get to choose whether you are being activated by the dark of this memory or the light of this memory. We want you to know you have control.
Okay, so just turning your attention to, wow, this is not really fear. This is my memories, my memories are being activated.
Yeah.
My powers being activated.
Just thinking about it. Like, okay, I know in my past life, let's speak for you. I know in my past life I was killed for speaking my truth. Mm-hmm. I know that I have focused on activating my throat chakra my whole life because of this. Mm-hmm. I know that when I'm presented with my spiritual work, there is some fear that comes up that is more of a body memory now than it is an emotional tie. Yeah. I recognize this is just the next level of my clearing of my history so that I can move into who I am. It's just a soft reminder of what that energy really means. And we tune into that by being more connected into our heart, by continuously looking to raise our vibration and being grateful for the things that are being presented to us. Because then when we are activated by these massive waves of energy, we can sit there and go, thank you, instead of, holy shit, this is intense. Because you're practiced in a different behavior. Yeah. We're just asking that we practice different behaviors that are in alignment with supporting our light.
Yeah, we get to decide.
Yes.
We get to decide everything, what everything means.
Absolutely. Everything. Take your joy back.
Yep.
Look the darkness in the eyes and say the light is here, and I am reclaiming my right to my happiness. I am reclaiming my right to my joy. I am reclaiming my right to my purest vibration that I know exists within me without even me trying. I take back my light. Just reaffirm things to yourself.
Yeah.
And stop worrying about everybody else. I mean, we were really telling Crystal earlier today, like days and days in your bubble. Days and days in your bubble. Without going out into the world and interacting with these cactus people. Because nobody knows how to deal with their stuff right now. Yeah. So it's like every time something comes up, that's an activation for somebody who's unhealed. One more thorn gets put on their plant. And then we're over there trying to hug them. Knock it off. Knock it off. Stay in your bubble. Be happy. Let them put all the pricks on that they want. Because they're going to have to take those pricks off one by one, just like you did. And there's nothing wrong with that. The path to awareness, the journey to your enlightenment is a very beautiful path, but it is deathly honest, we will say.
Well, it's coming to that point where I'm recognizing that nothing is worth it. They're gonna get it just like I got it, just like everybody else
Yeah.
is gonna get it. Not my problem.
Yeah.
And
The best thing you can do for anybody is just bring them back into their heart.
yeah,
Bring them back into their self-love.
Yeah.
Show them how to be easy. Show them how to soothe themselves. And if they're not open to hear that, they are not open to accepting any light at this time. Please try again another day. Bye.
clock out.
Oh man, I forgot I had things to do.
Yeah.
I have a client. Something popped up.
Yeah.
It's okay. You have to take care of yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is perfect. We're complete.
Okay.